Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. In this video, we are going to learn how we can deploy our Spring Boot application into a AWS cloud. Okay, so basically, before moving to deployment part, we are going to learn some basic about what actually is cloud. Okay, so here's some definition that I have already written. Like AWS, okay, it provide stack keep our application up and running 24 into 7. Okay, so basically, before this, okay, before the cloud presence in market, okay, what company do? They create a server that keeps their application up and running 24 into 7. Okay, but nowadays, okay, there are some cloud provider in the market like Google Cloud Provider, GCP, and Microsoft Azure, and most famous, which is AWS, Amazon Web Services. Okay, so they are something like they provide some functionalities like container. Okay, container are something like provide special resources that needs for our application. Okay, let's suppose if we deploy our Java application, so that time they will provide us some like a special resources that are required for our Java application. Okay, and operating system. I hope you already know what actually is operating system. So in their machine, they also provide operating system so that like the processes that are running on this machine, okay, can be managed by this operating system. Okay, except this, they also provide storage and networking and data center. Okay, data center is like a place where all these hardware devices are stored. Okay, so you can able to read this theory whenever you want. Okay, now move to what actually is physical machine. Okay, so basically there are lots of machine present in the AWS cloud. Okay, in AWS platform. So what actually happen, like we don't want such a storage. Okay, like we want some like according to our need. Okay, let's suppose if you want a server that only have 2 GB of RAM and 8 GB of storage. Okay, so what, so that's the problem. Okay, so basically for solving this problem, they have provided a lot more services. Okay, we are going to see what actually they are. Okay, so first discuss about physical machine. Okay, physical machine is like our hardware machine. Okay, that cannot be configured. Like they have a specific resources like let's suppose in our PC we have 8 GB of RAM. Okay, and we have 12 GB of storage. Okay, just like this. Okay, and okay, so in order to solve our problem, okay, like if we want like a less storage server, like a machine from that physical machine, so what actually they do? Okay, they generally implement a what we say definition. You can say a definition or whatever you want. Okay, they implemented a feature. Okay, so virtualization. Okay, so this is a technique through which we can create a multiple environment. Okay, or from physical hardware system. Okay, so from this system, okay, from this system we can convert a machine. Okay, that according to our need. Like if we want like let's suppose if we want a machine that have OS which is of Linux, and if you want that machine must have only 1 GB of RAM. Okay, and 8 GB of storage, HHD, and lot more things according to your need. Okay, so that time this machine is going called as virtual machine. Okay, so this the definition of virtualization. Okay, it is used to create multiple environment or virtual machine. Okay, from a physical hardware system. Okay, so virtual machine is created from like a physical hardware resources. Okay, just like here we have a physical hardware, but we just wanna use a sub part of this hardware. Okay, so that time we can use this as a like a virtual machine. Okay, so this is called virtual machine. Okay, now let's move to next topic, which is how we can deploy our Spring Boot application. Okay, so the main thing is that before deploying our application, as we know that like they have physical machine that have lots of storage, and we have to create first virtual machine. Okay, so what we need to do in order to create virtual machine, they have provided a service, okay, that is called EC2. Okay, like elastic cloud computing. Okay, and that's this is elastic. Okay, why they use elastic? Because like according to our need we can like increment the like size of RAM storage, okay, and whatever we want. Okay, so that's why they called it elastic. Okay, now I think we have to learn like how we can create a virtual machine. Okay, so in order to create a virtual machine you need to go to AWS. Okay, so here you can type a service. Okay, basically, as I told you that EC2. Okay, EC2 is a service that is provided by Google, like sorry, Amazon Web Services, AWS. Okay, in order to create a virtual machine. Okay, so that's why they provided this service to us. Okay, so I have already created like an instance. Okay, they also call it as instance of virtual machine. Okay, whatever you want. And before calling, in order to create a virtual machine, okay, so you need to click on launch instance and then type your name, like you can select demo virtual machine. Okay, and after this you can like select whatever operating system you want. I'm selecting Amazon Linux. Okay, and and here's a version of this. Okay, and so if you are on the free trial, okay, like basically for you can get 6 month free trial, okay, but they have limitations, okay, like we cannot access full functionality, okay, like here types of instance, okay. So if you wanna use like a C5D large and lot more services, okay, that time you are only able to use a T3 micro, okay, and this is the larger one that have functionality of like 8 gigabyte of memory and 2 core of CPU. Okay, but we are using this one with T3 micro, and yeah, architecture is like whatever you want. Okay, and now okay comes to main point. Okay, key pair. Okay, so here's the key. Let me go to diagram section. Okay, so what you need to do, okay, when you create a virtual machine, that time like so I'm writing here something like this is virtual machine, okay, and in order to access this virtual machine, okay, so think of it like that this is our local system, okay, local system. So in order to communicate between these two machines, okay, so they have provided a system like a key, okay, that we like whenever we create this virtual machine, that time they will provide us a key, okay, key. Okay. So this is called key. Okay, when we establish a when we create a virtual machine, that time we can get a key, and like during establishing connection in between these two, like local machine and virtual machine, we also need that key value. Okay, so here I'm going to see. So here I am using already existed key that I have. Okay, if you don't have, you can create a new one. Okay, and after this, you can click on network settings, okay, and click on edit. Okay, now keep it DPC required default. Okay, and subnet no preference. Okay, and here you can select any zone. The zone is like an area or region where the like AWS service provider are present. Okay, and here's IP. Okay, you need to keep it enabled. Okay, this is public IP. Okay, so there's one more concept like this machine, virtual machine will get public IP. Okay, right now, so our local system can able to access it. Okay, but if you select a private IP, that time what actually happens. Okay, like this machine will get a private IP. It means your system cannot directly able to access this. Okay, so what you need to do, you need a like a software or something that is called uh, Bayesian host, like it Bayesian host, and there's one more called the Bayesian host, and let me see the name, guys. Yeah, I forgot. And another one is jump box. Okay, so these are the software that we can use. Okay, if our like virtual machine is private, that time like we can use this software in order to access this virtual machine. Okay, like these these systems, okay, like these software have a public IP, and these software can able to communicate with that private virtual machine. Okay, that private IP virtual machine. Okay, so I recommend you to keep like it public. Okay, and now go to and below section is a firewall security level. Okay, and keep it default. Okay, and here's type SSH command. Okay, so this is like a types of protocol. Okay, so there are lots of protocol like HTTP. So basically you can select SSH. Okay, so basically this is a type of protocol that is used to establish connection in between two devices. Okay, and like it is used to build a private connection in between two devices, so that like okay, let me show the diagram. Okay, so this is local and this is virtual machine. Okay, so uh, like using SSH command, what actually happen? Like, oh my god, sorry, no button control. Okay, so using using these like SSH command, okay, SSH protocol, we can able to establish a connection like a private connection between local and virtual machine. Okay, so that like no one can inter what we say interference between these two devices. Okay, so after this, they by default port are 22, okay, and source type, okay, like who wanna access it, okay, so you can like anywhere, okay, so that like any IP address can able to access this, okay, and if you select my IP, that time only your device IP can able to access this, okay. So now, as you know that like we are going to deploy our Spring Boot application, okay. So here is our Spring Boot application, okay, and in order to, as you know that like in order to deploy our application, what you need to do, you need to like add security group, and here you can type your Spring Boot port number. Okay, so by default our Spring Boot works on Tomcat server. So basically Tomcat is work on 8080 port, and here source type like anywhere you can select, and then that's it. Okay, I think that is enough. Okay, and click on launch instance. Okay, this will take a few seconds or like minutes. Okay, and after creating an instance, you can go to instance page again. So we got another instance like my the demo virtual machine. Okay, so that we have created recently. Okay, so here's this IP. We are going to use it. Okay, so what? Let's move to Spring Boot application that we have. Like when we deploy this application, okay, let's first run this. Okay, run as Spring Boot app. So our application is running and on port like 8080. So I'm going to access this application. Okay, so as we know that like these are the request mappings, okay, like math and then add, okay. So like I'm going to the browser and HTTP localhost, and here's the URL, okay. So this is responding, and here is the log file that I have used in this application. So basically, if you here's our request, okay, and if I change request to like 23 and 33, instead of this I am using 2 and 3, and press enter, then 5, and here our log file will record the request, okay, 2 and 3, okay, and that's it, okay. So I'm closing this from here, and if you refresh this right now, like on browser, this will give us error because this application is not working on this port, okay. So let's deploy this application onto our like AWS virtual machine, okay. So what we need to do, okay, deploy our Spring Boot application to AWS virtual machine. Okay, so there are methods that like steps that we need to follow in order to deploy our application, like create virtual machine. Okay, so we have created a virtual machine, establish connection, okay, and now we have to establish connection. So here is our move action. And right, so as I told you, like in order to establish connection, we can use a protocol that is SSH. Okay, here's some commands that we going to use during like as that setup. So first one is SSH, and here's I. Okay, it means hyphen I. It means like we are passing the private key. Okay, private key or key that we have that we got during like virtual machine creation. Okay, as I told you that like when we send a request, okay, first they will like when we create a virtual machine, we will get the key, and during stabilizing connection, we have to pass this key value. Okay, so here is our key. Okay, so we have to pass this key. Okay, so and let's see, and here is key, and then user, and at the rate add IP. Okay, so now let's move to here's our IP. Okay, and you can search for user. Here's our user. So by default user is EC2 hyphen user. Okay, I don't know where to see it. Okay, and now I have copied the link. Okay, the IP, and let's create a SSH command. Okay. So here's our IP. Before this, we need to write user like add, and then user like EC2 hyphen user, and before this we have to pass key value address. Okay, so here's our address. You can copy the address. Again, this is not my actual address. Okay, I'm copying this address from the text file. So here's our address, and before this SSH hyphen I. So here's our full command. Okay, we can copy it simply and paste it. Okay, so let's try and enter. Okay, so we are at like EC2 underscore user hyphen. Okay, so we are at a virtual machine. Okay, right now we have successfully established the like a private connection between our local system and that virtual machine. Okay, so now what we need to do, okay, and okay, and we have completed two step like create virtual machine, stabilize connection, and now we have to check whether if Java version is present there or not. Okay, so my system is running on. Okay, let's see the version Java. Okay, my system is running on Java 70 version. Okay, so we also need to download Java 70 version on our like virtual machine so that like our Java application can run on this virtual machine. Okay, so let's see if Java present there or not. Okay. So no such command found. Okay, so first okay, so there are two ways. Okay, first you can either copy this, okay, to your virtual machine, and as I told you in the very beginning, that they also provide that is called container or library. Okay, provide special resources or library that are that our application needs. Okay, so our application needs a Java file, okay, or JDK. So they will provide, hope they will provide this Java version. Okay, so in order to see it, you can use dnf. Okay, search Java 70, okay, and press enter. It's under loading. Wait a second. Yes. So they have Java present set here. Okay. So here Java is present. Okay. Amazon Corridor development environment. Okay. So now we have to download that Java on this virtual machine. So I have already written these commands. Okay. Whatever we are using. Okay, here are our commands search for package. We have search for package. Now we have to download Java. So we can use sudo command. Okay, sudo command, it means with admin privilege. Okay, the admin of this machine is EC2 user. Okay, so with this user permission, we are going to download this Java package. Okay, so what we need to do, we just look at the our section like. Sudo and then DNF and then package name. Okay, let's see. So we have already searched for package. Okay, now we have to download this into our machine. Okay, so sir, just write a install command like sudo install and then this copy. Okay, whatever we have copied Java 70 Amazon corridor. Okay, so and then press enter. That's why for yes. So now we have successfully downloaded. Okay. Okay. So we have successfully downloaded. Okay. Java version. Okay. So now Java 70 version is successfully installed in our machine. Okay. So so these okay. So after this, like if you wanna check like this strategy, the leave it. Okay. Leave it for right now. Just move to our page. Okay. After downloading Java into virtual machine, copy jar from to virtual machine and execute. Okay. So right now jar is at our virtual local machine. Okay. So I'm going to show you where is it. Okay. So in this folder we have jar file and we need to copy this jar to our virtual machine. Okay. So how we can copy? We already have the command, okay, that I have written here. Okay. is, yeah, this is where, okay, like copy, okay, we can use scp like source copy. And like as I told you, like in order to copy something in a stabilized connection, we need to pass the key, okay, key directory or key location, and then java jar file name, and then user, and then ip. Okay, so I'm going to create that copy command using this. Instead of ssh, what I need to do, source copy, okay, and we are passing the key file directory, and here we need to pass our jar file location. Okay, so our jar file is present at this coding folder. Okay, so we can also use like uh, here we can use at current directory. Okay, current directory we have java file, jar file, whose name is like demo. You can copy this name and paste it here. Snapshot load Java. Okay, and copy, and let's see. Okay, now, okay, before this, like I am checking my previous command if it correct or not. Yeah, okay, and there's something missing. I'm going to tell you. Wait, okay. PWD. Let's see present working directory. Okay, so we are at this folder. Okay, right now we are working on this folder. So we have to pass where to copy this like file, jar file. Okay, so I'm copying this path and going to here, and I'm going to paste the path where I wanna copy it. Okay, so and just copy it, and let's confirm it. Yeah, is it working similar as source copy and key directory, and then like jar file, and then user, add IP, and then colon, and then directory. Okay, so we have successfully copied, and now we have to copy that jar into our virtual machine. Okay, so I'm executing this command and press enter. Okay, so our jar file is started copying from our source like a local to virtual machine. Okay, let's see. Like ll. Okay, so we got this jar file. Okay, and okay, just like this. Okay, and now in order to execute this jar file, okay, so we have commands that we have written here, like execute jar file. Okay, so we have command like nohup, okay, nohup, and jar file. Okay, and then like greater than, and then app.log. Okay, so app.log, this file is going to contain our like a running our application data. Okay, like whatever data our application is going to accept during runtime. Okay, and if there is any execution error and something, so this will contain in that log file. And this is background ampersand. Okay, so here is no hub. Okay, it means, okay, it, okay, sorry, it's not up, it means it keep running even after connection stop. Okay, like if we disconnected with our virtual machine, even after this, okay, our application is keep on running. Okay, and here is background ampersand. Okay, this will keep running app in background. Okay, if we close, like if we do not, if we press control c, okay, basically control c is stop the process, but this will not work. Okay, so that's why we are using ampersand. Okay, now let's run this command. Okay, like nohup, okay, and jar file, and then app.log and ampersand. So I'm going to write here java jar, and then our this file demo, one dot ref. And I want to keep that log status into this file dot log and ampersand. Okay. Before this, we are going to ensure whether if that application is running or not. Okay. So our local URL is like this, but now we are going to check. Okay, and instead of localhost, now our Spring Boot application is running on uh, this IP. Okay, so we can copy it and paste it here. And now let's see if it's running or not. Okay, so okay, continue to slide. Okay, this is HTTP. Okay, that's all like. Okay, so this is not working right now. Okay, but now when I keep starting it execution, okay, like if I execute. Yeah, okay, so our application is started successfully and let's refresh it and see whether we got a result. Yeah, so basically we got a result. Okay, and in order to, okay, so right now if you copy this URL and paste it in your mobile phone and everywhere, this application is keep on running. Okay, because this is not working on your system, this is working on this IP. Okay, and port number is same because our server, which is a Tomcat, is still the same one. Okay, and here's how you can deploy your application on AWS. Okay, and there, if you want to see the log file details, okay, like so, there's a command tail and hyphen app, okay, and then app.log. Press enter. Okay, so yeah, these are the requests that we got. We like if you want to get 45, 423, and 223. Okay, and press enter. Yeah. Okay, let's see the status. Yeah, so we got the request. Okay, so now our application is on running. Okay, so here's how you can deploy your application. Okay, and that's it. Okay, I hope you enjoy the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel.